So today we're here with Dutch.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I'd like you to introduce yourself to the listeners.
Okay, my name is Dutch ReBelle. Some know me as V, some know me as Vanda. But yeah, Dutch ReBelle. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I wear a lot of hats. Most people know me as a recording artist. I like to say creative because who knows what I'm gonna fall into once I step in. I'm a songwriter, vocal worker, I guess, a vocal artist. I do vocals for like dance companies, things like that as well. I cook. For those who quietly know my food page, I love food. Family, Haitian girl, Caribbean girl. So I feel like I have my hands in a lot of things, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm just, I try to just be of service where I can be. That's what I tell people. But yeah.
Well, I know Dutch, a.k.a. B, a.k.a. Vanda, from school. We grew up together.
No time.
Middle school, because I went to Glover, you went to Tucker.
Yep.
So we didn't meet until middle school.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think I remember meeting you at the interconnection happened at like the 5th grade dance when they brought all the elementary schools together.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. And then we went to middle school.
Yep. Here.
School.
Crazy.
Middle school, high school. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. We don't have to talk about
that. And I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's been very interesting to see the path that you chose.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose, I don't know if it's a more traditional path, but I went to college and tried to figure out schooling and a profession, more on the corporate side of things.
Right.
I was in the hospital space for a while. Now I'm in corporate. But you were a creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that secretly, like deep down inside, I applauded that. Because I think that there's a certain level of bravery that comes with choosing to go after those creative pursuits. Mm-hmm. I think I consider myself to be like an undercover, like a closeted creative.
Yeah, you are.
But I'm creative, like it's a secret creativity that not a lot of people see, or you see it in different ways. You see it in kind of the business ventures and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I think that the idea of committing to that creativity and kind of going after it has always been something that I've applauded you for.
Thank you.
So talk to me about what that decision-making process was like for you.
Oh, man. I appreciate that because it's funny because, it's always, that's how it works, right? The other side, looking at the other side, like, oh my God, look at my corporate bae, look at my boss chick. Like she's just, I love that. So it's nice to see where we've come, Absolutely. Of course, in that way. But yeah, I mean, I went to Penn State.
Okay.
So, I was following I know what you mean, traditional route, the traditional Caribbean route. You're going to all the school, as many schools as you can, you're going, for as long as you can, you're going. So I was all about it. And then, I usually just tell people like between my sophomore, junior year, like a lot of life things happened. You know what I mean? Like one of my best friends, like she got shot, like, I had a older, like I would say a mentor, a figure woman. She passed away. It was one of my cousin's girlfriends, so she passed. I got into a really bad car accident, broke up with a long-term boyfriend, as you probably know. So I was just like in a, I don't even care about nothing anymore space. And I'm sure people understand that. And at the same time, though, I was on the dean's list, doing great in school. You know what I mean? Like, and my friends would just say, like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? So once all those things kind of came into accumulation, and it was just like, I'm just going to do what I want because I don't feel like I'm doing, I started my locks. Like, I was just like, I don't feel like I'm actually here. I call it like the speed lane. Like I'm going and I'm running, but I didn't really feel like grounded in myself. Like check, yes, good. You got an A on this. You got an A on that. You're just checking the boxes. So, that same week that I got into that like car accident, I walked into a friend's house and they had a studio set up. And I was just like, what is this? And they were like, yeah, somebody gave us whatever. So I went in and everybody's, doing what we do. And I started like freestyling. Everybody's rapping. So I went and like my eyes are closed and I'm just kind of in my bag. And then when I opened my eyes, everyone was looking at me like, what the hell was that, bro? Like, and so that turned into they recorded it, they kept it, and they kind of circulated around campus. I went to Penn State.
Okay.
So from there, people were just like, nah, dude, this is not like, okay, this is really good. Like, this is actually very good. So once that kind of snowballed, I was just like, I'll just give it a shot. So as far as me making like that decision, it was really kind of just little experiments. I was just like, all right, like, if you guys want to invite me to the studio, I'll go. When I came back home, I said I graduated, shout out to PSU. And I was just like, you know what, I'll give it a year. And if nothing happens, it doesn't look like it's worth it, then I'll go and, go to grad school. Okay. And within like a couple months, I was at House of Blues. I was at Hard Rock Cafe. I was doing almost every college out here. And I had nothing. I didn't even have anything recorded because I didn't have that yet. I was like, you have to play the beat and then I rap for you. That's the only way you can hear anything. So I was doing that. And yeah, so it wasn't, I got a lot of kickback from my parents. I can only imagine. They're like, I sent you to college and... like you want to be hip hop and all that stuff. Like, so it was a transition, but I always say like, but of course in true Caribbean fashion, as soon as like their coworkers are like, is this your daughter? Is this your daughter in the newspaper? Is this your, and now she knows all my raps and, so it took like maybe like a year or two for my parents to kind of understand that it's not a phase as my father thought with my hair, with my music. But it was just like, no, like, I really want to see how this goes. And people responded and they embraced it. So I always tell people, I'm like, I didn't really want to be an artist. They started paying me for it.
That's amazing.
You feel me? So
I feel like that's not the typical story. It's usually the other way around where you're a starving artist. Yeah. Something that you're super passionate about and the money is not there. So I think that that's a blessing. Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. And I always say like to the hungry creatives, I'm always going to create. So, and not to say that it's about the money. Of course not. I could care less. Like, but I'm always going to create. Whether I do it professionally that's the choice that I feel like I made. But when you love something, you're going to do it all the time. You can't even help it. Like, I feel like, if in high school, like elementary school, like if there was a talent show or something, I was probably in it doing something or even maybe helping put it together. You know what I mean? But like, as far as like at that point, I really contribute just going through the darkest things in my life and just realizing that like if it doesn't make sense to you, what is really the point, honestly? Like if it's not doing something for your spirit, I would say sizzling your spirit, like the comedian, but like if it's not doing that, then do you really have a good reason to keep doing it? So that it was really like a chance I feel like I took on myself to break out of the traditional route, and I guess it's working out for me. So. No, that's very brave because I feel like exactly what she spoke to, like if it isn't like moving you inside, like your heart and soul, does it really make sense? And I think a lot of us get wrapped up in what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
And this is what I'm supposed to do. I know that for me, same thing with going to school, undergrad. I know I got there and I realized very quickly, I was like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I want.
Yeah.
And I remember going home and telling my dad, it was like Thanksgiving break, freshman year. Like, this isn't what I want to do. And he was like, well, if not this, then what? And I was like, well, I don't know. So it was like, okay, we'll go back to school until you figure it out.
Until you figure it out.
And then it became, I ended up getting all the way through.
Yeah.
But that idea of if it's not really moving you, taking stock of like, okay, so what will move me? What are things that I'm passionate about?
Right.
And finding that. And I think that there's bravery in saying like, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to gamble, giving yourself that time, like a year, I'm going to see.
Yeah.
But even that's a gamble. So I mean, I definitely
it sure was
for taking that chance.
I had a lot. It was a lot of thank you. It was definitely a lot of family friends. I had a lot to say, and like, why would you do that? And like, you're gonna go to school to do this, and then and my comeback was always, well, I went to school for journalism, so that's what I'm doing. I'm writing. Got my little kickback back, but no, it was definitely. I feel like even adults don't realize how many things they've never tried to do just because they wanted to, because of what someone else might have thought.
Absolutely.
And that at that time, like I said, I felt like I found myself in that space of just like feeling all sad and like what's going on, because I strayed away from the things that made me happy. You know what I mean? Like I had to think, like, when everything was great, when everything was fun, what was I doing? It's like, yeah, I was watching movies and stuff, and I'm picking, and like, I don't feel like I watch movies like everybody else. I feel like I'm looking at everything. You're a branding person, so like, yeah, like the angle, I love that that's what they chose. I love that that's the window they chose. Like, so we're breaking I think inspiration comes a lot from, we're not just watching, we're market research. So all those things, like I felt like I wasn't doing them anymore. You know, I have a big family. So all my cousins used to be at the house. You're in college. I lived in an apartment. I didn't have a dorm. I was in an apartment. And it was just like, damn, like I'm just going to school, coming home, going to grocery store. Like I'm living this like adult life in my freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the phrase, autopilot. I was just on autopilot. And I was just like, when did I last feel inside of my spirit? And it was when, you know, running around with all the girls we know and like, you know, the besties and the cousins and just like enjoying our moment. I feel like, well, we kind of talked about this before we started, but being present in your moment. I wasn't present in my moment anymore. And I saw the danger in that. Absolutely.
It's good that you could see that, call it out, and make that change, because I know that sometimes you can't. Like sometimes I know that for me, I'm in a season right now where I feel like autopilot is how I refer to it. People are like, oh, how was your week? I can't believe the week's over already.
Yeah.
Time is flying by. Things got to get done and you got to do the thing.
Yeah.
But being aware of it and that willingness to be like, I'm going to stop the ride. I'm going to get off.
Yeah.
And do some introspection. Think about like what it is that I need, what it is that I want to be, how I want to show up, and adjust accordingly. So I definitely applaud you for that, because sometimes that's not easy.
It's not.
It's not.
I'm thinking, I mean, even as you're saying it, I'm thinking about one of the things I love about you is like, I feel like you try to lead the wave with the things that we need as the type of women we are. And like, I see you getting up in the morning and you got your journal, and I'm like, I don't even know what time it is that she's doing this, and I don't know, she went there directly, just like when you fit it, just being able to fit anything that's good for you. I think any woman is like, oh my God, but like just the consistency. And I know that you probably don't do it like as much as you'd want, but it means something to me when I see it. It really does.
I appreciate
I love it, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But it is necessary.
Definitely
Necessary.
So you talked about some of the different sides of who you are. So what does being multifaceted mean to you? Because when I think about multifaceted, I definitely like, that is the word that comes when I think about all the things that you have going on. So talk to me about, in your mind, what does it mean to be multifaceted? What does that look like for you?
So to me, and it's funny because I used it in a lot of my resume lines. But multifaceted is really just the ability to not be boxed in, to not allow yourself to be boxed and limited. You know, because I think that everybody has a certain level of multifacetedness to them, if that's a word. I think that a lot of people have a lot of hidden talents, hidden gems, hidden interests that they've never worked on. You know, you got to pour into that.
Absolutely.
So I think that someone who's multifaceted, they've had some blessings in their life that have guided them to know that it's important to try it all. If something called to your spirit, to try it. Because I feel like the whole like, you know, jack of all trades, master of none thing, like people forget the other half of that sentence. And it's like, that's how you end up feeling like you're on autopilot, because you're doing all these things and you're just, you know, half this. But when you're actually multifaceted, I think that you've kind of done the work, and it's kind of been, you know, you kind of put a little structure in all those things you do. Because I feel like there's a difference of someone saying you got a lot going on and someone being like, oh, you're so multifaceted. And it's like, I think that there's a level of respect for yourself as well as respect for others. Like where I say, you know, like I think that I understand branding and marketing and things like that. And that's what I went to school for, but that's what you do. You know what I mean? Like, so understanding like the levels and knowing how you can still be very skillful. I have a lot of skill sets that I have in that department, but when you really put the work in on your profession, you know where you fall compared to certain things. So to me, like it's really like allowing yourself the grace to pour into all of those, but at a standard that's actually like you're executing these things. You know what I mean? You're actually executing them, not just like I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of ideas. It's like, I think that's you know, like that's whimsical, that's creative, that's you have a lot of ideas, like, but like
There's a difference.
Yeah, it's like I always say, it's like Phantom Gourmet. Like it's like if I see it on the door, I know it's official. I know what's going on here.
Stamped.
It's stamped.
Absolutely.
Multifacetedness has a certain level of stamped to it, where it's like people know they can come up to you for all these things you provide. And that's why I always say, like, why be a plug when you could be an outlet? Like, you know, I'm not, you could plug into me, but I have a lot of output to give. You know what I mean?
So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of differentiation between you have a lot going on and you kind of stamped yourself that level of approval in terms of the fact that like I've poured into these things and there's a lot going on. It's established things that I have.
like that girl that's doing the research and she's taking that webinar and it's not even anything that she's doing right now to bring her money, but it's on her calendar to watch this YouTube about this thing I might need. Like, to me, those are things of people who, it's like, but you're sitting there getting your feet done. And then it's like, you're over here learning about taxes. It's like, that's dope to me. That's so fire to me. And those are usually the people that I'm attracted to, because it's like, what can you teach me? Teach me some things. Be cool. Be cool out loud. Claim that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So you are a creative. That is one part of what you do. Talk to me about the other parts in terms of your career. I know that you have new career kind of progression happening. So talk to me about a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a very wide background of industries and jobs and things like that. You know, I've done retail. I worked at electric companies. I've worked in education. I've worked in, name it, honestly. Name it, health works with the gyms, whatever. But one of the last things that I've been blessed to fall into is I started working with a retailer association called Retailer Association of Massachusetts. And I always tell people, like, it's the best thing that could have happened to that other half of my life, because it's the creative side that made me qualified for it.
Okay.
Literally. Like, I've never had a position where even I tell people, like, the struggles I went through actually qualified me for this. The setbacks I went through qualified me for this. The knowing how to get over opposition, like, you know, use your rapport to get back into the game, and obstacles. And I mean, it's sales, it's marketing, it's all those different type of things. But with that company, you know, I've seen a lot of the good that people have done, and having the time to actually be pushed to go see who is changing the climate and changing the environment for economy, for just like the community, for social change, advocacy, things like that. Like, I never thought that I would be sitting with people and they're like, yes, you're Dutch ReBelle, you're an artist, you're a rapper, you're Caribbean, you're a big personality, you are so perfect for this position. And all I'm doing is helping my friends. So what we do is, you know, RAM, as we call it, we provide basically discounted services, business support, I would say, business support for different scales of companies, large, small, and we help them save cost on like their employee benefits, healthcare, dental, things like that, as well as like payroll, credit card processing, which is of course amazing. Like, one of the things we did last week was drop off wellness incentive checks. So basically, if you have a policy, healthcare, we'll give you 1% back on your premium. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I just get to introduce myself and drop off this $4,000. Like, hey, good job, everybody's healthy, good job. So things like that are amazing to do, because you're seeing the everyday person. But as awesome as that is, my favorite part is actually that they have legislators and they advocate on behalf of the members. So, you know, we just pulled in, shout out to Low Key Dispensary, you know what I mean? Jeff, of course. You know, my boy Kenny, back on Road LLC, he has a trucking business where he helps people who have records get their CDL, start their own businesses. And, you know, the fact that I even told this company, like, listen, I'm looking to help all my friends first. I was like, because there's the network, the you know what I mean, the inclusion, and me being an artist and them knowing this isn't like Vanda speaking, for those who don't know that. Yeah, but Dutch, like, Dutch cares about the community. She cares about the people who are making money in this city, who are calling shots and actually leaving something behind for the next generation. So, like, to know that I'm coming at you now, like, not just like, yeah, I could perform or I can tell people. No, it's like, listen, I can actually save you some money. And if there's anything going on, let me know, because I'm going to send the lawyer homies and they're going to go handle that. And I feel like that's always what I've been doing. You know what I mean? Like, I talked to and even the other day, talking about, I know you speak a lot about representation, which I love. On one of my visits, I walked into I wish I could remember her name, because I would love to give her a shout out. But I walked into a Crumble, which is like the cookie place. Yeah. And I was visiting another member, and I just walked in because I was like, oh, you know, we have a lot of food people in our network. Shout out to everybody, got to eat. But I was telling her, like, yeah, I came in here, but it smells so good in here. I have a sweet tooth. I'm like, it's so bomb in here. I came into, like, I had all my information ready to talk, and what's that? That's a banana pudding cookie? Like, and we're just chatting. And then I told her, like, well, this is my job. This is just kind of, and she was just like, how do you get a job like that? How do you do that? Like, I've always worked in fast food. I don't know how to, and I'm just like, girl, take my number. I can help you with your resume if you need. Like, And she was just so taken back by that. And you know, all that to say, like, I didn't choose what I was doing. I really just kept, everything I do is just trying to keep on to the things that make me feel good, that makes sense to me, that sizzle in my spirit, as I said. So again, to have opportunities like that now I can transfer into all the other things I do. For people who don't know, I'm a licensed life insurance agent. I'm a certified body contourist, body sculptor. You know what I mean? I work with the nonprofit, Correcto. We help kids. So it's like, I didn't even realize that all those things I was putting together, yeah, it's kind of what I was doing. So when they told me, and they're just like, you're perfect for this. And I'm like, if you say so, let's get it. Like, let's get it. But I love it. And I haven't been there too long. But like I said, like, you know, I worked in transport, in cannabis transport at one point this year. You know, I was managing a salon for the past few years. So, you know, I moved to a different area and just kind of revamped everything. And following your gut has definitely been blessing me lately.
Absolutely. So it's alignment. I talk about being divinely aligned, and those, like you said, those pieces coming together.
Yeah.
So oftentimes when you're in it, like when you're in the weeds, it doesn't necessarily feel like it makes sense. But when you get out the other side, and you see that, like you said, some of those pitfalls, some of those challenges, some of those obstacles that you went through make you the exact right candidate for the position that you're going for the opportunity that's being presented to you. So that's that divine alignment, those doors that you were knocking on and you swore you wanted what was behind them, those being closed kind of led you in the direction of where you have to go.
Absolutely.
So I'm a big believer in that divine alignment and those, like, the synergies, things coming together and working kind of hand in hand to make sure that you end up in the right place at the time. And that's what it sounds like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing opportunity to be able to kind of have that outreach in the community, provide those resources to businesses.
Absolutely. I feel like I get to thank the community for how they've supported me. Like, I honestly feel like I'm like, this is just my gratitude. This is just my appreciation that people should know about your companies. People should know about your businesses. And not to say, like, you know, we're demanding our respect necessarily, but the representation matters, and the strength of numbers, as we talked about a little bit earlier, strength of numbers matters. And knowing that everyone involved is just trying to help, that's what I've tried to carry in all of my businesses and anything I do with anybody I deal with. It's just like, you don't have to care about people. I don't mind that either. We come from some shark worlds. I'm not worried about that. If you're about your money, that's fine. That's not a problem for me either. But it makes it so much better when you're like that, but you do care.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit in passing the nonprofit that you're a part of. Talk to me about that. I think that philanthropy oftentimes is viewed like, we hear philanthropy and we think about like endowments and like stuffy old people being given to construct the libraries and things. But philanthropy really is just giving back, whether it's money, it might be time.
Exactly.
It might be your skills. So I consider myself to be a philanthropist. I did start a nonprofit a while back, just based around things that I was passionate about, because it wasn't even about a money thing. It was really about getting resources to the places I thought that they needed to be.
Right.
So talk to me about kind of what your philanthropic journey has been like in the nonprofit work that you're doing.
So my family, I was born in Haiti. My family we established a school in Tomond, which is my father's hometown. And basically they've been running the school since 2005. Providing education for free. So basically the nonprofit is set up that the member donations, and we have like quarterly events and parties to generate the money that it would cover their operating costs. So books, you know, the infrastructure of the school, which is usually the biggest issue. And obviously the supplies and school lunch, which is the second biggest thing, because sometimes, as you know, that's the only thing they ate all day. So the parents also need us to feed them, so the parents can, you know, and you know how that goes. So we have been, you know, it's my family, my older family, my parents' like organization. It's where they grew up, but now a lot of them are older now. My parents have moved back to Haiti and things like that, or, well, you know, they're back and forth. But with that, there's this now like new responsibility on the younger generation to spread that word. So another reason why I've always been stalking your page, you know, I hate guilt marketing. And that's some of my beef with certain fundraising and philanthropic work. And I think that's the reason why certain people shy away from certain things like that. And I've always just really wanted Correcto to have a essence of empowerment and helping. And that's something that I really want to bring into the new branding and the new development of the organization. Like, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, because exactly what you said, it's not always about money either. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, send me those 3 notebooks that you found in your basement. You have no idea that I actually need those. You know what I mean? Or, hey, let's set up like a Zoom or a FaceTime or something and just talk to this person for like 20 minutes and just let them ask you questions. And, you know, I got to go back to Haiti this year for the first time in maybe like 10, 12 years. And oh, it was so hard to come back. It was so hard to come back, because it was just like, people out there don't care about a lot of the things that we take as a priority, because they don't matter. Like, you built your house on the land, it's yours. There's no rent, there's none of that, there's no mortgage, there's none of that. You wake up every day to get food, and you hope you could do it again tomorrow. And it's a simple way of living, but it definitely shows you a lot of appreciation. So as far as Correcto, you know, we've done a lot as far as like so they just rebuilt 2 of the I think it was like 3 or 4 different little mini houses. They just rebuilt 2 of them. Now that my mom is kind of over there more, we've built like gardens. So we've done like garden projects, things like that. Moringa, teaching them how to plant moringa, watching the development, and then using that for like healing purposes, of course. Sometimes we'll do like little market, show them how to like set up like a little clothes market. We'll take donations of clothes and, you know, sell $1 or $2, simple things. Or of course to teachers, we just give it to them. And, you know, I'm very passionate about it. I am in that next level where I want to step in a little bit more and just kind of educate myself on the best ways to be as helpful, because even now with learning about RAM and certain benefits, granted, we do a lot of things with retailers, but it's like the network of aligning, as you said, aligning yourself with other people and understanding initiatives is one thing. But, you know, I also love that we kind of talked about keeping social things in business as well. Our big thing is throwing parties. So we don't necessarily want to be, as we say, we're not trying to be party promoters, because we could just take that money that you plan and give it directly to them. But creating an environment where people can feel good about being around people and enjoying themselves and celebrating the fact that everybody is here together. I think that's something that I really, really want a lot of nonprofits around the world to understand, like, do that. Don't feel like you can't show your personality, because it's not realistic. Absolutely. These people that we're helping, they're not like Haitian people, I'm sure you know, they're very happy and prideful, and you know what I mean? So that's not, it doesn't even match really. It's just like, if you're going to help. And if you don't want to help, then be useful. And it's okay. And that's okay. And that's all that matters. So I love the work that my family has done. And I take pride in what they've taught me, because it's growing up, like running downstairs, because my mom's like, hey, go get this at the printer for the meeting at 7. I just came home from work. And I watched my parents do this. I watched my parents be the treasurer. I watched my mom be like the creative and helping with the events and teaching the kids how to do the folklore dances and stuff. So it taught me production. Taught me meeting minutes. I grew up looking at meeting minutes all over my tables and stuff. So I have a lot of appreciation for what it's taught me.
No, definitely. That watching your parents is something that I know I grew up very similarly. So my mom was a philanthropist before I knew what philanthropy was. My mom was an entrepreneur long before I knew what entrepreneurship was. But seeing her always giving back, like she was always giving back in whatever way she could. And again, like you said, like seeing what they've done and like taking it to the next level. Yeah. That's something that I'm very big on. A lot of the kind of ventures that she started as they get older in age, it's like, how do I take that on and help to build the legacy? Because it really is, it's a legacy thing. It really truly is. These people came here from countries where they were warm, first and foremost.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Countries where they were warm had amazing fruits growing off the trees, like views, nice water, beaches.
As you said, representation, people who look like them.
Exactly. And came to these United States, Boston specifically, to create a life for us, for them, for us. It was really for us.
For no one else but us.
But they were very much passionate about that legacy and achieving whatever in their mind was that goal, that dream for us. So I think it's only right that we kind of take let them pass the baton and take it and build on it. Yeah. And give them some relief, and knowing that like it's in good hands, but it's very important to me to take some of those things that my mother was so passionate about building, the foundations that she's laid, and taking it and expanding on it and taking it to the next level. So I get that. My family, tries to almost sponsor like relatives that are back in Jamaica. Very similar.
Right, of course.
So it's a little bit less.
Oh, I like that. I never thought about it. It's sponsorship. It's really isn't even your family, but you taking responsibility for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there might be a cousin or something that's tests for school or needs books or something like that.
Right.
So they had started doing that in a less structured way, but even like bringing structure to it, that organization, making sure that we're getting the most from it, because you can give back, but if it's a donation, you should know that there's tax benefits for that.
Right.
Let's give back in a way.
Absolutely.
I think that's why the education around the fact that it is philanthropy. It's not just sending money back home for Susie Q or whoever. You can, if you structure it correctly, there's that mutual benefit.
Absolutely.
I think that there's definitely a lot. There's runway for us to do more around education, around what philanthropy looks like in our community.
Right. I would love to share that more. People need to dive in.
Absolutely.
Dive in.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be shy. There's no stupid questions. This is a safe space. Like, absolutely. I would. It's important. And I think I always say you do a great job at keeping the vision, the voice, the story in it. And that's what a lot of people need help with. It's the truth. They need help with that. So it could be expensive to market and brand things, but it is just a little education and some tweaks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It really is that storytelling component. And like you said, as a creative, as like a writer, that tends to come out in whatever the scenario is. Right. It's not necessarily about the ask. It's about the story behind it. Right. Because like you said, he wants guilt marketing. It's not about, I don't need you to feel bad. I want you to understand that this is a great opportunity to change the trajectory of someone's life. So some of the work that I had done with my nonprofit was in STEM. So being in the science worlds, there's lots of kind of programming, and they want to do STEM education for kids. And yes, it's easy to do STEM education in my front yard. So if the locations where the company is based doesn't look like me, that's fine for them. But I'm very passionate about making sure that the little Black and brown kids have an opportunity to be exposed to this stuff too.
Fully comfortable.
So I was very passionate about that. I definitely took charge on several projects like that for my company. But then an opportunity came up where I got to take it even further, and we went to Jamaica with it.
Oh, wow.
My mom was doing, like I said, very much in her kind of philanthropic bag. She often goes and does like missions trips to different countries. But she had coordinated a missions trip to Jamaica, and it like coincided with some work that I was doing for my company. And I pitched it. I was like, listen,
awesome.
There's a college down there, college in Jamaica, and they actually have a science track.
Okay.
So these are students who are going through this schooling, and they're going to be future scientists. So for me, I saw it as an opportunity, not just to bring the STEM education back to Jamaica, but I pitched it to the company in a way that these are future employees, and these are future customers.
Yes.
And I know for me, like when I was in high school, we did an externship where I went to Deloitte. It was Deloitte and Touche at the time.
You said when you were in college or when you were in high school?
It was like,
where the heck was that?
It was it was
outside of school. Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I'm like, what?
It was a different program.
I missed that day. Was I there that day at school? Okay.
So it was a 1-day externship at Deloitte and Touche at the time.
Okay.
Consulting. And I learned everything about consulting that one day. But that stuck with me literally to this day.
I was about to say, wow.
Several years later, I still think about that one day, and that name recognition definitely holds through. So that's how I pitched it to the company, where I'm like, listen, these are going to be future employees, but it's going to be future customers. So if we can get in front of them and just spark interest, it doesn't have to be a full-fledged indoctrination.
Yeah.
But spark interest. It was fun activities. It was like we did water purification testing.
Nice.
Like to test the pH.
I was a woman in natural science, so shout out to WIN's program.
And that's the thing. Like,
yeah, that's fire.
Showing them those examples.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, we package it in like it's fun activity.
Yeah.
But it's a really good opportunity to kind of plant those seeds. So for me, it's about that storytelling and about that making the connection. So I really enjoy those opportunities to kind of spread the word about different things, but with that ask at the end to kind of help bring that awareness.
Absolutely. That's amazing. It's funny because my communications brain is like, that is an amazing pitch, because with magazines, and so you have to pitch your articles. So
I want to know what they're going to get back from the investment. Like, yes, it's fun to feel good. Like, everybody wants a feel good story, but when you're working with organization, you really do have to flip that strategy switch.
That why is
it's
important.
not just, I don't just want money. What are you getting back for it? So sometimes, I mean, like, there's the tax write-off part of it.
Right.
But if I can tell you, I'm going to get you exposure to, again, prospective customers, prospective employees, check more boxes.
Exactly.
Get a little bit more traction. So
I love that.
Yep.
Okay. Absolutely. Love it. That's, yes, we need so much of that. So much that just, I mean, of course, Caribbean Babies, that makes me so happy that you guys are doing things like that. Like, because that's, I mean, so when we went to Haiti this past summer, I visited the school, and we brought bags of popcorn. That was like the snack we had. Man, I had like a 18-pound bag, and it was like 3 of us, and we were just scooping into little bags, and we had like games, and, you know, played and brought food and all that. And it's just like, even though what we were doing was kind of like a social day, because they weren't actually even in school, they were off, but they came in for like the party. Even though it was just for fun, I can already see how happy they would have been to learn something like that, like to know that they could do that. It is all the difference, and it is representation, and that matters so much on who's showing you something.
Very much.
I remember growing up in high school, like, I was real good for falling asleep on a speaker, boy. Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you're not, that's your job to be interesting. Like,
Look like me.
You already don't look like me. You're talking really weird. You're not connecting with us. You're talking mad slow. Like, you're just like, well, you're just so excited to be here. We're not, because it's 7, 8 in the morning. But just knowing, like, I always remember the certain teachers and there were maybe 1 or 2 speakers that came where it's like, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, because, like, of course, the infamous Mr. Tart, you know what I mean? Shout out to Mr. Tart forever. But, like, yeah, like, just having someone who sees you where you are, recognizing where you are, because even that mission, granted, it wasn't like we went and built a whole technical institute for. Some people feel like that's what matters, and that's not what matters. Exactly. It's that little, I will remember for the rest of my life the day that these people came and they showed us how to do this thing. And that, as you know, we were kids, we know that's what stays with us forever. It doesn't, you can give me a whole PowerPoint presentation. I fell asleep 10 minutes ago. It doesn't matter.
No, it's very real. And I think that representation component, because colleagues that don't look like me could have gone. Absolutely. Yeah. But the fact that it's somebody that looks like you, and I am very big on pulling together career panels, and we look like you. Yeah. We have locks. We look like you. We have the same places. We have the same accents. Might speak the same language as you. And I think that there's something powerful in that. Absolutely. I can talk to you and I can tell you to go do this or go do that. But I think showing somebody that's where the representation comes in. Showing somebody that I look like you, might have come from similar background, may have gone through similar things. I think that's part of it, where in terms of, like, I didn't take the traditional route, or I struggled with this and I struggled with that, but I was able to come out on the other side, and I was able to be successful. And I'm talking to you right now so that you know that what you're going through, you can make it to the other side, and you can still be successful. Yeah. So I think that those types of conversations are the ones that are going to stick with younger folks. And it's important. Those conversations are important. Crucial.
Like, I never turn down speaking engagements with any youth ever. And everyone knows that. Like, I don't care. If you have a budget, that's nice, but I'm probably coming anyway. So just give me some pizza. It would be all right. Like, but I never. And they teach us more than we think anyway. They're teaching us. We're not even, like, they're teaching us anyway. They're the cool ones. So, no, it's true.
So talk a little bit about philanthropy. Talk to me about the entrepreneurship. So, like, the businesses that you have.
Yes. So let me see. So I will say, one of the not newer additions, but one of my more important newer additions, is being a licensed life insurance agent. Okay. So I am with World Financial Group, and basically what we're trying to we do is I tell people, I'm like, we're just trying to educate. Yeah. I don't work for any one person, so I'm not sitting here like, you need to get this, no. people don't understand the investment portfolios and the investment options that there are when you're dealing with an estate. Like, so my big thing with people now is like, have you created your estate yet? And if you say, what does that mean? We should talk. Because too many people, when there's something wrong with you, or when they're older, or like when you're trying to buy a house and the people are asking about assets and they're asking about all these things, we don't even think about them. But if people knew how beneficial it was to know about this young, they would never let so much time go by without knowing, you know what I mean? Like, about the living benefits of it. And I don't even like to call it life insurance. I just say, like, different investment portfolios with your estate. Because to me, that's really what it is. It's just like, these are not this is not common conversation in our community. So that's kind of what pushed me to doing that. I wanted to learn. Someone I met, they were like, hey, you speak really well. Like, I think you would be good with this. I was actually my chiropractor. Shout out to my chiropractor. But like, I was just kind of like, ooh, I want to learn. And once I knew like how much it costs, I was just like, this is like taking like a class. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could be whether I work with the license or not. To me, this was information that I needed to know. And that sparked a whole different. Now I'm like, I want to do healthcare. I want to do securities. I want to do everything. And because there's no like, I know a friend of ours actually. You know, she always tells me the story about how she bought her house because her mom had her policy when she was like 14. And because she was like 14, she's been paying the same premium, same amount for all this time. And then when she got to like a certain age, she was like, yeah, I had like $300,000, $400,000 to play with, bro. And I got a house. And then I flipped that into an investment property. And then she sold that one. And then she just bought, I call it a Montessori school. It looks like a freaking Montessori school is what she lives in. She lives in a school. And that's her big old house. Like, but just through something that her mom was understanding of enough to do at a young age. So just information like that I try to provide. So I wouldn't say I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but you know, finances, investments, long-term options, things like that is really what I try to just give people the information and do what you want.
Absolutely.
So that's one part of it. As far as just kind of empowering people to take care of their, you know, and I should say this, generational wealth.
Absolutely.
That was my big thing. Everyone talks about generational wealth. How do you actually start that?
It's true.
Everyone says, oh, yeah, I'm trying to establish this generational wealth, but no one knows what it actually means or how to do it. Generation means something behind, something you're leaving behind.
Absolutely.
You have $40 in your savings account.
Can't leave that. You can't.
But what I've learned to explain to people is, but what about you could still have that $40 in your savings account, but your policy is like, you know what I mean? So, and ways that you can convert things and all that stuff. So just, again, it's just the information. So, you know, that was my big thing. Like, as an artist, as a recording artist, where do you get a 401k? As a recording artist, where do you, you know, what was going on was, so my best friend lost her mother. And then not long after, one of my, you know, my little bro, I would call him, I never call him little while he was a lot. But my bro, an artist, he passed away, huge to the community. And in that span of time, I watched a child bury their mother and then a mother bury their child. You see what I'm saying? So I don't ever want to see a GoFundMe again for anybody that I know, unless it's because we just feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
a place of need.
But I don't ever in my life want to see anyone I care about while they're grieving try to figure out where to get money for anything. I never want to see that again. I never want to be a part of that again. And that is what, you know, not to be like dark about it, but I'm in the hip hop world. A lot of people are not living to their full age potential, and, you know, people getting sick and stuff like that. And also Caribbeans, we know how it goes. Like, your mom gets sick, your dad gets sick, and now you're like working for the rest of your life to try to handle, and they just don't have the options.
Absolutely.
So that's a big important thing. Outside of that, basically, I said I was certified in body contouring. So body work, I wouldn't say that I'm out here like, you know, snatching everybody, because it is a passion that I have for wellness, really. But coming from working in a salon, and I'm not a hairdresser at all, so I was helping with operations and things like that. But getting into the front line of like the beauty industry and seeing, like, you know, it's not just about looking good. We understand the wellness of it, the health, like skin health, not like you have nice skin, but the health of your skin has to do with your body, has to do with your gut. people who have people who need to detox. So my mom had a bunch of like different mobility issues towards the end of her working and stuff like that. And you know, if you can't move, you can't work out. Sure. So how do you deal with certain things if you can't? So just learning about like the body and just talking with women. I mean, at the end of the day, as an artist, and I always contribute all these branches to being an artist. People talk to me. People like to talk to me. They feel like they know me. So, you know, I'm going to shows and women are not comfortable wearing certain things because they feel like this and that and a third. And it was just like, I don't like to not help. If I keep hearing a problem, I don't like to not help. So my passion for that world really just came from me finding a detox that worked for me to just lose like belly weight and bloating and things like that. And then I lost 25 pounds just doing a little bit of intermittent fasting and a little detoxing, and that actually motivated me to start working out. I was never a workout girl. I'm not in that. Chase me. That's how I'll run. I'm not running just cause. Like, let's go to carnival. Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? I was never into any of that. But that really gave me that boost. So just because my own story, like I was like, I was empowered to try something I would never ever try just because I got that little extra push. Like if I see a little bit of results. So that kind of led into that. Also, so I do have my food page. So a lot of people don't know, so I'm gonna say it now, Team Yum Kitchen. So that's actually my food page. I don't have my name on it because y'all be asking me for food on, you know what I'm saying? But I have also a passion for just the culinary arts for one, but as we keep talking about social, like every business, we meet for lunch, we meet for dinner, we meet for drinks, we meet for this, we meet for that. And through music, I've got to explore a lot of different food places, you know, going to Texas, going to New Orleans, going to, you know what I mean? You get to enjoy all the foods. But we don't necessarily take care of ourselves, though. You know what I mean? For all the fancy places that we went, that might have been the one thing we ate all day. Yeah. We're not eating breakfast. Like, we're skipping things. We need something fast. And again, the things that are affecting the people around me. And all my businesses are connected. If I'm not eating right, if I'm not taking care of my body right, it sets off other things. And as I started sharing more about them with people, that's when I started learning, like, these are interests, as we said earlier, like these are just interests of mine, but now I have to pour into them because I'm seeing that not only is it helping me, but like, I didn't realize how many people, it's because of the representation, right? They wouldn't do it. Like if I tell you to go try this, somebody else told you to try the same detox, but because I said I did it, you're like, girl, please, here. Same thing with the organization. One of my, with RAM, like one of the members that joined, I didn't even give him the brochure. I just said, he's cool. This is what's going on. And you know, you have a lot of awareness and we can help you save costs. He was like, Dutch, if it's you, no problem. I'll send the money. I'm like, wait, don't send the money.
Hold on.
Let me show you what we're doing. And then I got you. Like, you know, so all those things I'm very passionate about. Pouring into them. I keep them at a realistic pace. I like to say I keep them at a realistic pace because music is always my number one. But I've always said, like, music for me is a real genuine thing. I'm not out here telling a story that someone made up. So I'm living life. And when I feel like I have enough to share, like, that's when I, you know, start putting things out. So I have a lot of things in the works right now as far as being released. I've been stacking videos, stacking music. But I feel like I have a lot more to represent now. And I want to make sure that, you know, I boost up everything because it's warranted. I'm not a 17-year-old, 18-year-old girl trying to. And I always tell people, I never try to convince anybody I could rap. My high school friends knew that. Yeah. Like, so that wasn't.
At the lunch table.
Yeah, it's all good. Like, we could freestyle outside. It's not a problem. Yeah. But they also knew I was school, that books.
We didn't have.
Wasn't a choice. So, yeah. So finding that, you know, entrepreneurship to me is really just giving yourself enough grace to know that you have a lot of things that you want to do, but also being realistic and structured enough to pace yourself at them. Because before I would have been like, I do this and this and this. I call it the backslash syndrome. I'm a stylist /this. I'm a creative.
Yeah.
And because I've been blessed to have structure and really execute things on a higher level than some might have been able to, I can say that I'm an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think something that we talked about a little bit before sitting down was the idea of community and the fact that entrepreneurship can be lonely. It really is a journey. I think that's unique to everybody. But the reality of the situation is that calling is coming from inside most of the time. I can't speak for everybody.
Right.
But I know that for me, it's coming from inside. it would be much easier if I just went to my 9 to 5 and punched in and out and collected and spent that money doing whatever paying whatever bills and spent my weekends relaxing. Like, not a much easier route.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're choosing entrepreneurship it's a challenge. It's usually something, like I said, you're being drawn, something internal is pulling you towards that. But it can get lonely because if you don't have that same mentality, if you don't have that same passion and drive, you don't understand. On the outside looking in, I know I probably look insane because it's like, you don't like sleep.
Yeah.
You don't like relax. Like, you don't want to just relax for
But like, you have to have your laptop here right now.
You have to bring your laptop to this dinner. But it's like, I have things that need to get done. But it's a very lonely existence.
It is.
So I know that for me, it's been on my heart to really think about like what that community, what that network looks like. So there's definitely some things in the works in terms of building that community, not just from the perspective of, like, we talked a little bit about the social aspect. Almost like a support group. Like, I'm going through it. I know you're going through it. Let's have that same lived experience. But the sharing of resources, the sharing of abilities, like, it's like, you want to operate in your zone of genius. I don't necessarily want to think about some of those other things.
Right.
But like, how can we barter and how can we leverage each other? And
Girl, you are speaking my life.
how can we lean on one another? How can we lift each other up? So that's definitely something that I know we all kind of go through in terms of that entrepreneurship journey. Whether it is like it's your only thing, or whether it's something that you're doing on the side. I think that we all have some similar lived experience. There's definitely kind of an opportunity there, a gap there, and for that ability to create that sense of community among entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs in general, but I also have a soft spot for like young Black entrepreneurs.
Me too.
It's like, we're going through it. We're in the trenches. We're struggling together. We might as well come together and figure out how we can lift as we climb.
Right.
Build each other up.
And that's when it matters the most, when they're at that age of inspiration. I always say, like, the world hasn't tainted them yet.
Absolutely.
And it's real, though. It's true. You're still, like, not jaded by certain things. So it is hugely important. You said a lot of the things that so when I first came from school, I saw that there was a disconnect on some of the professional women. And I guess that was my soul trying to find representation as well. Like, but I wanted to create a network. So I didn't, officially go all the way with it, but my Black Roses group. So shout out my Black Roses that are still Black Roses. But our phrase was, every petal has their purpose. So the idea was, each one teach one in a sense, but every petal has their purpose. Like, and the petals basically connect to each other in a puzzle form where it is kind of like a barter system where, like, all right, so within our network, we bartered with each other to increase our outside value. But of course, if someone else is coming and they want to, it's kind of like an incubator in a sense, if that's a word that I didn't know then, but now it's like essentially that's what it is. But I've always said that, like, same thing I said, Phantom Gourmet, right? That was my idea. Like, if someone's a Black Rose, then she's official. She's not, it's not messy and nothing. Like, you got to send when you got an issue, send in a Black Rose. Like, they're going to handle it. Everybody knows that they official when they handle it. But right, we started doing a couple of things, started doing some social things. I would say that I had to kind of step back from it because I realized that that's the thing with social groups sometimes. If the social takes over, or if the social is the forefront for certain people, then you're actually lacking the official business of it. Like, if you're a makeup artist, you have to be a makeup artist like all year. Like, if are you actually that if we're starting to bring business? So I knew that I needed to do my due diligence a little bit to kind of build out the structure to make people understand what the vision was. I used to call it like a professional sorority. In college, like, shout out to Penn State, like, I had someone approach me and ask me to start the Delta chapter at my school. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what? Man, like, all them girls, it's crazy. Like, and nothing in my mind would have made me even think that they thought I could even be in one. Yeah. Never mind lead it. So I was very taken back by that. And I always shout out to Jabron. Like, I always think about that, like, as an honor. Like, wow, that's amazing. But I kind of used that to phrase to kind of form what my vision was for it, where certain groups, there's like that level of, that's my sis, but you might not be real fits. And my thing was, she's not my sister because we're women. That's what I was dealing with a lot in music. Like, what's up, sis? What up, sis? It's like, no. No. You have a big family, so we don't do that. If you know my cousin, who's your mom? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no. So I say, like, you're my sis because I love you like that for what you've done. You can't just be my sis because we're both Black.
Yeah.
You can't just be my sis because we both rap and we both have vaginas. Like, that's not fair to anybody. It's not how it works. Like, and I used to be big on that. And I know that there's some girls that probably back then they hated my guts for it, but now they're like, wow, she really cared about me. Like, and I was like, no, I cared about you. Like, I'm not going to let anyone even ever discredit you to make it seem like you piggybacked on me, because that's going to aggravate me, because you would do that to me if you would do it to someone else. So, you know, everything you said as far as like trying to create a network for women to have that space to be very honest about what they go through. You never know where, you know, we don't always have to have like a big kumbaya session. I think, again, it's awareness and really seeing people. And I think that that's what, while there is a lot of groups and things that we're talking about, it does exist in this space, but I think that there's certain little fine tweaks that I personally haven't seen yet, where it's like, we don't have to be like, we're all sisters in this. No, it's like, it's okay. It's like, here's the sign, here's the event. The people who come, the ones who don't, because we respect that. Sometimes, sis, I don't even have it to explain why I'm not coming. I don't have it.
No,
I don't. It's not here.
Absolutely.
Please love me. And understand that.
No, it's real. It's real. It's real. That idea of giving grace.
Grace. That's been my word for the past like year or two. But a lot of people don't know how to give grace because they've never got it.
And that's very big, because I talk about giving yourself grace. It starts at home. It's internally.
That's at home.
And it really is. If you haven't ever been given that grace, if you haven't given yourself grace, how can I expect you to give it to someone else?
And we don't. I think as Caribbean kids, like, they're not allowed to give it. They're not like allowed to. If something in the Caribbean shift happens, they're not allowed to give us grace, because their responsibility is to, the passion for making us the best it just overpowers it. And I think that where a lot of successful women benefit from that type of, like, not Joe Jackson mentality, but I used to call it, like, you know, you're right. Yeah. They benefit from it.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of internal healing that never gets touched on. And it's not until you're either with a significant other, or when you get to that age where your knees start hurting and a Netflix starts looking like all you need to do, and you just started crying for no reason, and it's just like 4 PM, and it's like, what's wrong with me, bro? Like, I used to say, are these feelings?
Yeah.
Are they falling out of me? Yeah. Like, and that's usually what happens. And I only say that to say, like, I would love to see a group of women that and when I say I respect, I want to be very clear. I'm a hip hop girl, so I'm gonna talk about, you know what I mean? But like, because you've done it, that does not, we come from that hard life. So you gotta, that's what you're supposed to do. We don't necessarily applaud for like the satisfactory.
Yeah.
But when I see someone that has a little extra oomph and a little extra, that is what inspires me. That intrigues me. I don't have to know anything about what you do. But if I see a woman like, or a man, and don't get me wrong, it's not exclusive to women. I'm just saying we need a little bit more of that on the woman's side, Black women's side. If, you know, seeing someone that I'm just like, I like the way you move. That to me is just like that little kid that's sitting in that classroom and someone walks in and it's just like, yo, your outfit might make me listen to you.
Absolutely.
That's it. Just the fact that you said hi to us before you said hi to the teacher might make me listen to you. And I might remember that forever, because that's someone who's in their moment, they're in their spirit, and they're doing what they want to do, not what they think is supposed to happen. Like, even when I do speaking engagements with kids, like, I be sitting with them. Like, I'll go I'm like, so y'all gonna just have me stand up here like I'm some, like, you know what I mean? Nah, we gonna sit in a circle because this is weird. Like, I talk like that, and I, you know, I get invited back. But there's definitely a need for a little structured camaraderie. It's the water fountain. You know what I mean? Everybody meet at the water fountain and talk about the day.
Sure.
We need a little portable one for everybody all over the place.
No, I like that. I like that visual, because it's not something where it's super curated. It's not a requirement. It's something that you do because you want to, and there's that opportunity for that dialogue and that kind of fellowship. So I've done a couple of events like that in the past, with different kind of spins on it, but definitely something I want to bring back.
Yes.
Let you know, please, and get plugged in and make sure that you're there and kind of build that network.
I love everything you do. You already know that. And even this, like, I feel like that's you know, what you're providing with this podcast. Like, people who are entrepreneurs and business-minded people, like, this is not what they ask us to talk about. Unless that's the, you know what I mean? Like, that is just not what they ask us to talk about. They ask us to discuss the realm of the blah, 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 blah. And it's like, right. But like, the people that I'm trying to help, that's not what they want to hear. So I already, you know, you giving me my flowers, but I need you to have yours as well, because I applaud what you're doing. You're giving business people a space to be human, to really talk about things. And then even the fact that it's not a bunch of people, it's just a conversation. So it's not like there's that in the back of your head to make things sound perfect or make things sound, because you're always representing all the things we're connected to. And I've seen other people that you've spoken with on here, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure that they all leave like, that was nice. Like, you know what I mean? So
I appreciate that. No, I think for me, it's very important to kind of peel back the layers.
Yeah.
Well, for me, being multifaceted is the wearing the different hats. And I talked about, you talked about like not necessarily putting yourself in a box. But I think what's important to remember is that you're human first, you're a person first. And that's why I love the, like, what does being multifaceted mean to you? I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a this, I'm a that. Because you are all of those things. And you don't get to shut those things off because you're working in whatever your role is, or because you're creative on stage, or because you're a philanthropist. All of those things come together to make you who you are. And I think that the beauty in walking in that and being authentically yourself in that is the interconnection of those things.
Right.
And the fact that because I am a daughter, I show up in this space.
Yeah.
Because I am a mother, I go hard in this space differently.
Right.
So I think it's very important to kind of peel back the, like, what's the polished presentation that you put forth usually? No, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about how your childhood led to where you are now. And let's have a conversation about how those kind of challenges and obstacles kind of helped you to become the woman that you are today.
Yeah.
I think that that's the reality of what happens behind the scenes. It's not necessarily what's on Front Street. Oftentimes we get to know people from whether it's a social media presence or whatever, but that is absolutely a curated sampling of the highlight reel.
Yeah.
And there's so much more that's happening kind of behind the scenes. And I think that, again, that humanizing of the what's behind the scenes. Because for me, if I'm living in the trenches and I only see your super polished highlight reel, I can't relate to that. And I think that's a very big part of the beauty behind this idea of authenticity and showing up authentically in the different spaces and places you're operating in, and kind of owning the fact that it's not always going to be picturesque, it's not going to be pretty, but it's real.
Yeah.
And I'm showing up.
Yeah.
And I think so that's very important to me.
No, I'm it's so true. I'm just flashing back all the different conversations I've had with my team. Like, there's been times where, like, I'm posting, you know, my photo shoots, and I'm like, these pictures are so cute, you know what I mean? And then someone's like, yeah, but they're all perfect. So you want to show like some candids? And I'm like, oh, right. Because what I'm looking at and what you're looking at are two different things. But you're right. Like, people want to, for the slay girls and the baddies, they love it. But for the girl that's like, girl, I would never. They don't care about any of that. So if I've been doing that, then they want to see me with the food on my face and the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and I used to kind of fight about it because I was just like, yeah, I just want to see everything. But connecting, Absolutely. It's about connecting.
It's about the connection.
It's about the connection. So I have a little bit more. That's why I tell them, I'm like, all right, I'll get cute now. I was like, because I get it. Because I don't ever want someone to think, like, because I'd rather be in my hoodie down and boots, just because I'd rather do that doesn't mean that I'm a girl who won't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've had people say that, and it's just like, they're like, oh, you know, she doesn't want to be. I'm like, first of all, I'm a Haitian woman.
I can do whatever.
Like, I'm not even, exactly. Like, first of all, I'm not even really supposed to wear pants. Like, I'm supposed to be in a skirt, a dress. Like, we're supposed to look, for church, you're supposed to, you know what I mean? So just all those things, and just, as we keep saying, representation, getting to see people do it in different ways so that you don't have this, there's no template. So when there's no template, you can just create your own. If you always see some, even like, you know, I think of like Janelle Monáe and like how, like, you know, she's out and about now because she's like showing her body. But I'm like, it's not even just her body. It's because she's stopped wearing the black and white. And that's really why I think everyone's like, but that was a statement that was her work. And it was, if you know, like, it was a homage to her parents and things like that. But like, same, like clothes even dictates so much.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So again, seeing people just looking like you, dressing like you know what I mean? Like you got the fresh sneakers on right now. I know y'all don't see that. But but things like that, like it's very nice to see that the entrepreneur world and the hustler environment has changed so much. I think it was changing before, but it's fair to say it's changed. There's a lot of new energy in it.
Absolutely.
And and I'm just all about just moving it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Definitely. All right, so we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna do the affirmation.
Okay.
So anybody that knows me knows that I'm very big on manifesting the life that you want for yourself. And like you said, you've been around for a while, so you know that I do my like morning mindfulness.
Yeah.
And for a really long time, it was just whatever. Like I would think of certain statements, or I would come across them in like reading or whatever. I'm a very big vision board person. I have like a cork board with those like positive affirmations to myself. But the affirmation deck really came about because for me, it was a way to, again, like help others. So I know how much the manifesting the life I wanted really did play a part in kind of who I became. But like I said, it was kind of a piecemeal thing and I struggled with it. So this idea of a tool, a deck of cards, kind of has some of these things. And I mean, there's a range in terms of the topics, but the idea that it's like a very ready to use list of prompts. You grab one, you kind of read it to yourself, internalize it, but then think about how it resonates with you and how it like relates back to who you are, where you are. So yeah, that's kind of the way the deck works. So I'm gonna have you pull a card.
It's such a beautiful deck, guys.
Thank you.
And the nails and it's all there, guys.
The branding.
It's all there, honey.
So I'm gonna have you pull a card. And then you can read it and tell me how it resonates. That's usually the reaction. That's usually the reaction. So what does it say?
My thoughts, my desires, and my reality are coming into alignment.
There you go.
Yes.
So what does that mean to you? I know we talked about it.
We talked about this in specificity. Yes, they are. It means this to me is the definition of being present in your moment. You can't see alignment until you are present in it to see where the dots connect. For me, if anything, this is what I've been trying to do since like elementary schools, just being a little weird and doing this and kind of just always going against the grain. You know what I mean? I'm chilling with the guys. I'm working with them, with a bunch of boys and we playing around and doing all these things. And it's just like I was always a little different. But you just have this pull, like you said, this spirit pull where you just feel like you know where you're walking towards. You might not know what it is, but I have a passion for just exploration and learning and being happy with the unknown and the uncertainties. So, my thoughts, my desires, and my reality are coming into alignment, I think is what happy means. Like, I don't think we know what what is happy to us really? Like you because we were raised like you have food, you're healthy, you're this, you're that, you should be happy. And it's like when you're raised like that, you don't actually know what happiness is for you. And I would say this is happiness. This is the thoughts, the desires, and my reality, because those things don't always add up. They're not always, the things you wanted to do don't always add up. But the things that didn't happen the way you wanted to, still giving you a blessing is what the alignment is, and being able to collect from that. So this is amazing that this is what I pulled. I think it's hilarious. Do you remember them all? Like, do you remember? Once I start reading, do you kind of remember them?
Because I wrote them all.
Right. That's what I figured.
And I often will pull them and be like, oh, this is my favorite. Oh, this is my favorite. And it's like, they can't all be your favorite. There's 51 different sayings. They can't all be your favorite. But they are all my favorite.
Yeah.
Because they're you. It's a combination of things that I used to say to myself. So like during times that were tough, I would kind of talk myself through those times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that encouragement, because oftentimes, like you said, you're kind of going through it on your own.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of self-encouragement and it kind of taking that self-encouragement and putting it onto the cards and making it available to others. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like I manifested pulling this card because you said these words to me. So it's like, that's how I was just like, word. It's like, yes, well, with those nails, honey, stop playing. But exactly, like, but and again, I've even this is my first time pulling from the card, and I've wanted them. I've wanted them. Like, and I was just like, and I almost feel like I was like, my energy has to be right to even receive them. And I don't even know if you know this, but I actually built my altar because of you.
Oh, really?
Like, I actually officially like did it. Like, I always had my like candles and I had my certain things, but like, I think one day like you showed yours and it was like the windowsill and the colors, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I gotta do it. Like, I gotta do it, and I did, and I don't have, so I didn't buy anything like that because I was just like, I know where I'm getting them from. So even more that this is my first time seeing them, and I pulled this card. And even this week and having it happen. And as you know, like, first off, for the record, I know it's not a big of a deal, but I hate being late. Like, I am, because I come from hip hop where like they message you check if you're late. So once I learned that one time, I'm the one that's outside and I'm early. I'll wait for you. But I had a lot going on today and I had a lot going on this morning. So, but I was like, I'm not canceling. Absolutely not going to cancel because we've been trying to do this for so long. So although that like, this alignment is a lot. This is like a triple, quadruple situation here. So I'm very grateful for this.
Definitely. And your deck,
very grateful.
There for you.
I know.
I get one takes the deck home.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
I'm gonna pull one too. Just round it out.
Yes. And they're nice and smooth.
They are. A lot of work went into the finishes. I got sample cards.
Yeah. That's what I'm. So listen. That's what I'm.
So mine says, I give myself space to grow and learn. If I fail, I will fail forward. I am not afraid to be wrong.
Ooh.
That is a powerful one because I think we talked a little bit about this idea of striving for perfection.
Yeah.
And wanting it to be right, wanting it to be the right move, wanting it to be picturesque, and we want it to look the right way, and we want that from an optics perspective. So that's very big, and I am definitely guilty of kind of analysis paralysis almost, where
me too.
I don't want to move until I know it's going to be the right mold. So for me, I'm definitely, this is something that I'm working through, is this just understanding that progress is important, and like do it to the best of your ability. Kind of on the business side, there's this idea of a minimum viable product. So like, it's not going to be the end all be all. We know that it's not our final release, but we know that we need to get something out there so that we can kick the tires and figure out what works, what don't work. And if you're not willing to get something out there, then you're not going to be able to field test. It can exist in your mental and this imagination state in an idea form forever, but until you are willing to kind of take a chance and step out and put something out, you're not going to be able to see what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
That willingness to do something and do it not necessarily the best, but do it. Get some kind of experience under your belt. Make mistakes, but make mistakes in a wise way where you kind of take stock of what worked and what didn't work and learn from it. I think that it's important, and that's something that I'm definitely learning to come to terms with, because it's not fun, but failing's never fun. Right. When you know that it's for a purpose and you view it as a learning opportunity versus a failure, I think that's how you kind of shift your mindset and are more willing to embrace that.
Absolutely. You sound like the best music manager ever, because every artist, as far as like the behind the scenes conversation for your soul, any artist that I talk to, no matter signed, not signed, that's what we talk about. Like, it's hard to like put things out knowing that there's so many things you want it to be perfect, and the analysis paralysis is it. I was just speaking with my friend, shout out to I-20, but like, that's what we talk about all the time, because of course he's a little older and he's already had industry success, and he's trying to like help me and stuff like that, and like, that's what we talk about. Like, I'm like, well, this one's not ready because I got to shoot a visual. And he's like, well, mine's not ready because I got to get this mixed and out. It has to sound like this. And we both have our reasons as to why it needs to be perfect, but it doesn't matter until we get it out.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. So like, but having that follow-up and understanding like the vision and strategy, it is important because like you said, it's one thing to put it out, but did you actually go back and check it? Did you actually go back and look at your analytics? Did you actually see what grew, what didn't? I'm actually going through a thing right now. Fun fact. I don't know if you've seen Nicki Minaj has been like premiering her new song that she's putting out. It's the same exact sample. The same exact sample of a song of mine that I put out last year. Wow. The same exact one. Like, I mean, like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I'm now going through that where it's like, I feel like I need to do a whole new realm of branding and pushing it because people are going to think I did hers. And I'm like, I recorded mine in 2020. I put the video out last year. So, you know, to ride that wave, to also navigate through that where people are like, oh, she stole it or she, no, that's crazy. Yeah. We don't need any of that energy. That doesn't even it's not the point. Like, I'll just say that she was creative and I was creative. Shout out to me. But again, like having that space to try things, test things, not take it personal, try it, move this like this, like it's everything.
It requires a lot. It requires a lot of resilience. But it's definitely it's necessary. Yeah, it's necessary. Yeah. Otherwise, you won't actually move. You won't actually make any progress.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Analysis paralysis is a thing.
It is.
It is a thing.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
I appreciate the time. I appreciate the conversation.
Likewise.
It's always a good time when we get together.
Always. I don't remember much of the last time we were together, but no, I remember all the good things. I remember all the good things. I know I was in fine form.
But thank you so much for coming and sitting down and talking to me. I'm glad that we were able to make this happen.
I'm truly honored. Honestly, I've been wanting to come for a long time. I love to see the growth. I'm a fan. I tell people I don't use that word a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because I got fans. What you mean? But I am a fan of what you do. I've always loved you. Like, you know that. Like, I love how you move and everything. And I feel inspired and empowered as well to keep doing what I'm doing because I see the pedigree of where we came from, and it's beautiful to see. And I think that you're doing amazing work, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much.